Hello everyone and welcome to our July 2016 Webinar Wednesday, an Oilheat Realty Partnership Program, brought to you by the North Carolina Association of Realtors. My name is Tyler Helms and I'm the IT Manager for your state association, and I will be today's moderator. Today we have David Heiser, Regional Director and Marketing Coordinator for Pry Media. Pry Media is a full-service marketing and communications firm offering internet strategies, web design and hosting, custom applications, graphic design, direct marketing, corporate identity and branding, custom relationship management, and print and broadcast advertising, all designed to strengthen its clients' profitability and address the challenges of an ever-changing marketplace. For more than 15 years, David has been integral in creating and producing and presenting many of the company's sales, training, networking, and marketing programs. David brings a wide range of real-world experience to his face-to-face sales meetings, as well as to the 30 to 40 webinars and seminars that he leads each year. Pry Media is leading today's webinar on behalf of the Carolina Fuel Institute, which represents a network of North Carolina oil heat dealers who are committed to providing full-service residential and commercial heating. The Carolina Fuel Institute is an informational resource managed and operated by the North Carolina Petroleum and Convenience Marketers in association with the National Oil Heat Research Alliance. Today's program is presented to you by the Carolina Fuel Institute, the American Energy Coalition, and the National Oil Heat Research Alliance. Without further ado, I'm going to pass along the program to David.
Thank you, Tyler. Good morning, everyone. And of course, thank you for allowing us to be here this morning to speak to you. As Tyler said, my name is David Heiser, and I'm speaking to you today on behalf of the North Carolina Oil Heat Partnership Program. Now, the goal of today's presentation is to share information with you about today's oil heat, which will help you sell more homes. Now, we know and we understand that, even with today's low mortgage rates, buyers are still really cautious when buying a home, and they do have a lot of concerns about the future. Now, this can be amplified if they're unfamiliar with the features of the home, such as oil heat. And that's why we're here today, is to provide you with the information you need and to be able to pass it on and help answer the questions from the home buyers, and also to deal more effectively with the other professionals that could create roadblocks to your sale due to their lack of knowledge. Because any lack of knowledge can become a barrier to your sale, and we don't want that to happen. As the saying goes, knowledge is power, and I'm here today to give you that power to help you more proactively educate people about oil heat so that you can, and the other advisors that you deal with, can better provide for your clients. It's just that simple, and it's so simple that it comes down to this, that the more you know about oil heat and the better you're able to communicate those benefits to your homeowners and the other professionals you deal with, the more homes you're going to sell. And what, of course, that means for you? Well, it means you make more money. And everybody, I'm sure, wants to make more money. I know that that's something that we all want to do. And, one of the ways of making more money, and of course, people will tell you there's lots of tricks to it. Well, one of the simplest ways is to simply take advantage of all of the opportunities that are available. Now, while oil heat only accounts for about 3.5% of the market share in North Carolina, when we look at home turnover rates in the past year, we saw that equated to about 4,500 opportunities that we do not want to see slip through anyone's fingers. What's more is that we know from working with really professionals and homeowners across the country that even those that are familiar with oil heat have questions, especially in today's market. With the abundance of new fuels, the new technologies, it's important for them to understand the benefits that are coming. So when we look in North Carolina with that small market share, it's even more important for you to be able to educate home buyers about the options and the benefits that oil heat brings to their home comfort. That's what we're here to do today, is to help you be more successful. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and we're going to break this down into 3 segments, 3 key areas we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about oil heat and overview, so just general information about oil heat that's important for you to understand and be able to pass on to your clients. We'll talk about oil heat in the home, the typical equipment and features that are going to be found and some of the concerns that we know are out there. And of course, last but certainly not least, we'll talk about oil heat dealers being at your service. And when we talk about at your service, we're going to look at this from two aspects. One, of course, is at the service of the homeowner. And last but certainly not least, is being at the service to you as real estate professionals. So let's go ahead and get started by taking a look at Oilheat general information. So one of the first things that I wanted to make sure everyone understands is that today's Oilheat is not the same as it was 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. Through advancements in Oilheat technology, Oilheat now offers even more efficiency, cleanliness, safety, versatility, dependability, and yes, even integrating into renewable fuels. What's more is home buyers and homeowners can depend upon Oilheat because they understand that they have a choice of local suppliers, an abundant supply, the ability to store that fuel right there at the home, and by using Oilheat, actually help them taking a step towards energy independence. So now more than ever, Oilheat is a value-packed fuel source. So let's go ahead, we'll take a closer look at these and explain to you so you understand. So we're going to start off with one of the most important. Oilheat is safe. In fact, it is extremely safe. Oilheat is non-carcinogenic and it is biodegradable, meaning it will break down into soil over time. Now, when I normally give this presentation in person, I do a demonstration here of trying to show and making a point of just how safe Oilheat is. Now, it's a little bit harder to do in a webinar, but we are going to do it, and I'm going to show you some information. I'm going to show you a video which really helps push that point home. Now, part of that demonstration that I normally do is also asking a question to my audience, which is, do you know, think you know, or do you think you could identify home heating oil if you saw it? Now, I know that from doing this over the many years and the vast number of times I've done this, the majority of attendees do get that question wrong. So what we're going to do is in just a moment, I'm going to bring up the video, and I guarantee you that what you're about to see is a jar of 100% home heating oil, just as it would be delivered to the home. Okay? You'll have to trust me on that, but it's 100% heating oil. And we're going to go ahead and then run the video and show you just how safe it is. Now, again, as I bring it up, just think to yourselves right now, what your perception, what you believe Oilheat looks like, and when I bring up the image, you can just judge for yourself whether you got it right or not. Okay, so here we go. So yes, that is Oilheat. Okay, so Oilheat is red. Okay, in fact, it is dyed red for a very particular reason. The reason for that, as I'll explain, comes down to really to taxes. Heating oil is also known as number 2 fuel. Okay, now number 2 fuel is also diesel fuel. They're essentially the same product. The difference comes in is how they're used. When you use heating oil or number 2 fuel to heat your home, it is not taxed by the federal government. When you use it to operate a vehicle on road, it is taxed by the federal government. So our product is dyed red to help differentiate how it's supposed to be used. And trust me, no vehicle operator ever wants to be caught with red dyed fuel in their tanks, or they face some very hefty fines by the government. So yes, heating oil is red. So let's go ahead and we'll actually run the video, let you see just how safe this product really is. So what you're seeing, of course, is I'm lighting a match. All right, I'm going to let that match burn very brightly, get it burning really well, and we're going to just drop it into the oil. And there you go. What happened? Well, what happened was nothing. Okay? It simply went out. Right? That's one of the benefits of heating oil, is that heating oil does not explode. In its liquid state, it doesn't even ignite, as you just saw. In order to get this product to ignite, there's basically 2 things that we have to do. We have to vaporize it, and we have to heat it above its flash point of 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So it has a very high flash point, so extremely safe. And as you just saw, I could sit there and drop matches into it all day long, and they're just going to go out as if I was dropping them into water. So while we're still talking about safety, there's a couple other areas of safety that I do want to cover before we move on. And that is, this time of year, we don't hear too much about this, but as we come into the heating season, cooler weather, and people start turning on their heating appliances, we do hear from time to time, unfortunately, stories in the news about individuals and families who have fallen victim to carbon monoxide poisoning. Now, carbon monoxide, of course, is a colorless, odorless gas, which is given off by all combustion sources, regardless of the fuel. Now, typically what happens is when a heating system, for instance, is operating and operating properly, levels of carbon dioxide are very low and properly vented outside of the home. But when they do, excuse me, when a heating system malfunctions, okay, levels of carbon dioxide can increase greatly and become very dangerous. Okay, but here's where the really good news is. And one of the things that you'll probably notice today as we go through the presentation is I love bringing good news to everybody. So when we talk about home heating and home heating oil, when we talk about the equipment, the great news about the safety factor is that when a heating system malfunctions, a couple of things happen. One, of course, is that it will give off a visible warning signal by the way of smoke or soot. Now, some people will use that as a reason to say that oil heat is dirty. All right, but I look at it this way, is that I would much rather have to go over and wipe down my walls and vents than, as the saying goes, wake up dead. Okay, so it's an early warning sign saying, hey, there's probably a problem with the system. Pick up the phone, call your full-service oil heat dealer, and have the system checked out. But there's also a second thing that happens when an oil heat system malfunctions that's just as important, and that is the system shuts itself off. So before these dangerous levels of carbon dioxide can even be produced, the system will shut down. And if you ever go in and you look at an oil heat system, you'll notice on the burner there's a button that says reset. Okay, and it should also be marked only press once. Okay, the reason being is very simple, is if a system malfunctions or shuts down for any reason, homeowner can go and they can hit the reset button and the system will start, or maybe it won't start. But if it does start up and shuts down again in just a few moments, again, this is another sign saying, hey, you know what? There is a problem with the system. Pick up the phone, call the dealer, have them come out and check it out. So it's an extremely safe product. We have an extremely safe fuel, as you saw, does not ignite, does not explode, or even catch on fire when I drop matches in it. And you have these great early warning signs that say, hey, you know what? There may be a problem with the system. Let's have it checked out. Safety, dependability is what heating oil is all about. In fact, when we talk about dependability, that's the next topic I want to talk about. So when we talk about dependability, as I mentioned earlier, is that homeowners have come to depend upon oil heat for that dependability because they understand that they have a choice of local suppliers. And when you have a choice of local suppliers, so in other words, multiple dealers that you can deal with, okay, it raises customer service levels because these dealers understand that they have to compete for their homeowners' business. So they understand that their customers are individuals, they're not numbers, that they need individual attention and they need products and services to meet their individual needs. So the full-service oil heat dealer has a wide range of products and services to meet each customer's needs. So rather than just one set of services that fits, it's going to fit everybody, the services can be tailored to meet individual needs as well. So some of those customized services include things like emergency service, automatic delivery, budget programs, other price protection programs, service agreements, loyalty programs, and much more, okay? The whole idea behind that is to be able to give customers the level of service that they're looking for and to give them the convenience that they're looking for in doing business with them. In fact, many dealers today do offer additional ways of doing business besides the traditional, picking up the phone, calling the dealer, speaking to a representative. Is many of them now offer online access and services as well, such as being able to look up your account information, pay your bills, receive your bills electronically, request service or delivery services, being able to sign up for price protection and service plan enrollments, loyalty programs. Also making sure that they have a good mobile presence. Today, many of us, we are tied to our mobile devices, whether it be a smartphone or a tablet. We do most of our inquiries to that. We look and do a lot of research on it and try to do a lot of our transactions that way. So making sure that they have that ability to offer that convenience of accessibility. And of course, part of that is to have two-way email communications. So not only do the dealers email and communicate information to their customers, there's also an avenue for the homeowner to email the dealer. Again, a lot of us live very busy lives. We don't not necessarily have time to reach out to our dealer during normal hours. So it gives us that convenience to do business on our terms in a way that's convenient for us and for the homeowners. So again, all a benefit, making it very clean, very easy, very convenient for doing business. Now, when we do talk about the other benefits of oil heat. And one of the other things that's really important to understand is just how clean oil heat is. In fact, just like the other advances we've made, we've made a lot of great advances in oil heat technology, which have allowed oil heat to become 95% cleaner than it was just 25 years ago. These advancements in technology have allowed oil burners to have emission levels approaching zero, so extremely low emission levels. In fact, the EPA has affirmed that oil burners are one of the cleanest combustion sources in the United States. You know what? But that was always great and that was true, but you know what? It still wasn't enough, because as an industry, we're always trying to improve our products and services. So in order to improve on our efficiency and on our cleanliness, we've also now introduced new advanced fuels such as low sulfur fuels, ultra low sulfur fuels, and Bioheat fuel blends, which have further reduced those already near zero emissions even more. Best of all, these new fuels, these advanced fuels, can be used without having to make any changes to the existing systems. It's just that simple. And if there are homeowners who want to make even a cleaner footprint and they want to add in other alternative fuels to the mix, oil heat is very compatible with other energy sources, such as solar. In fact, solar and heating oil make a very excellent, efficient system in combination of each other. But even if we take out alternative energies as a tie-in, as a compatible source, oil heat is still extremely efficient. So again, this is due to technology, the advances in technology, which has helped our equipment reach efficiency levels as high as 95%. So let's put that a little bit in perspective for you. Back in 1980, it took 1,400 gallons of oil to heat the average size home. Today, it only takes 700 gallons. Think about that. 50% less fuel being used today than just a short while ago. Again, this is not an accident. It's because as an industry, we spend a great deal of money on research and development to improve our products and services. In fact, in a recent study which was funded by NYSERDA, and for those of you not familiar with NYSERDA, that stands for the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, the study showed that by upgrading, from doing a same fuel upgrade, putting in a new boiler, savings could be reached of up to 48.3%. So again, that 50% mark that we just talked about, just simply by doing a same fuel upgrade, which, by the way, can usually be completed in one day, using one company to do all of the work without any damage to the property. So very simply, these savings through efficiency can be reached very easily. But again, it doesn't stop there, because for homeowners who want to get the most out of their systems as a whole and want to improve efficiency even more, they can utilize other smart technologies for greater savings, such as Wi-Fi controls and thermostats, remote monitoring, advanced energy economizers, and even more. So it doesn't stop there. We keep going. Again, it's all about advancing the products and services that we have to offer. And when we do talk about advancements, again, as I mentioned, the industry spends a lot of money on research and development to help improve our products and services, both in terms of the equipment, in terms of the fuel. Now, again, we don't have time to go into all these, but some of these research areas include things such as advanced venting, smart burners and controls, condensing heat exchangers, self-powered heat systems, hydronic controls, polymer heat exchangers, boiler efficiencies, and advanced fuels. Now, as I said, unfortunately, due to our time constraints today, we really don't have enough time to go into all of these, but there is one area that I do want to spend some time on because it is very important to understand, and that is in terms of the advanced fuels. I mentioned some of these earlier, and we're going to focus in on one of those in particular right now, and that is Bioheat. Yes, Bioheat introduces a renewable aspect to our fuel and also a step towards energy independence. So, of course, we'll go ahead and we'll explain that. Now, first of all, what is Bioheat? Well, Bioheat simply is a blend of biodiesel and heating oil. Okay, in fact, the term Bioheat refers specifically to blends of biodiesel and heating oil of 2% to 20% blends. You'll also hear it referred to as a B2 to a B20 blend. So what we're doing is we're blending in a 2% or up to 20% of biodiesel in with traditional heating oil. Now, what's also really great is that the biodiesel that's being used is produced from soybeans and other oils that are grown and processed right here in the United States. So you have a homegrown, domestic, renewable property to our fuel. This is really exciting because it allows us to do so many things, and it actually enhances the properties of the blend. So by being able to blend in the biodiesel due to its properties, it enhances the environmental benefits of the fuel. It also raises the flash point, making it even safer to use. I already showed you that the straight heating oil has a very high flash point, 140 degrees Fahrenheit. As you saw, the matches went out. Biodiesel's flash point is even higher. It's actually over 266 degrees Fahrenheit, so the blend becomes even safer. It's safer to use, safer to store, again, creating more dependability, greater peace of mind for the homeowners, that they know that they have a safe, renewable, and abundant supply. So these are all great things when we talk about it. Now, one of the things that we also want to talk about when we talk about this is, how does that all equate to the step towards energy independence? Well, it's really fairly simple. That for every tank of bioheat being used, we're further reducing our need to import or produce barrels of crude oil. So when we take a look at a typical 275-gallon tank, okay, at a 5% blend or a B5 blend, that means that we're replacing 13.75 gallons of heating oil with biodiesel. Okay, so again, that's just a 5% blend. If we go to 10%, 15%, 20% blends, of course, that's going to increase accordingly. Now, even if we take bioheat out of the equation, okay, and we still want to talk about energy independence, well, you know what? There's still a great story here, because the United States is sitting on some of the world's largest oil reserves. Now, these are natural resources that not only help mitigate the billions of dollars that are being sent overseas, but also helps create millions of jobs right here in the United States, helping us become on a stronger financial footing. So what we're talking about here are the shale reserves that we have. Now, these reserves are estimated to be as much as 2.3 trillion barrels. Now, that's nearly 3 times the amount of reserves held by the OPEC countries, and it's sufficient to meet all of our petroleum needs for the next 300 years. Now, when I talk about our needs for 300 years, I'm not just talking about our heating needs. That's all of our petroleum needs. So whether it's for heating your home, for operating vehicles on the road, off-road, all the different petroleum byproducts, it's enough to meet all of those needs, again, for the next 300 years. So we have a very abundant, secure supply. Now, when we do talk about that supply, and we do talk about, people say, well, if we have this much, why are we still importing? Well, again, there are many reasons why. We could go into try and keep things down safe. But the bottom line is when we do talk about, our imports, a couple of interesting facts that I want you to be familiar with. Last year in 2015, about 24% of petroleum consumed in the United States was imported from foreign countries. Now, that's the lowest point that it's been since 1970. What's more is what most people realize is a lot of people think that we import all of our oil from overseas. Well, the reality is that 3 of the 5 primary countries in which we do get our oil are right here in the Western Hemisphere. In fact, some of you may know and some of you may not realize that the #1 country that we do import oil from is actually our neighbor to the north. It's from Canada. Okay, one of the other top 5 is Mexico, our neighbors to the south. So again, a very local, very dependable, abundant supply is available to us. In addition to that, the majority of crude oil that is produced and imported into the United States is refined here in the United States, again, adding to that abundant, secure, and dependable supply. And most importantly, and this is something that is really kind of exciting, at least for us, hopefully you'll appreciate this too, is that the United States is now the #1 ranked oil producer in the world. Okay, now this wasn't always true. In fact, prior to 2014, we were actually the 3rd largest producer of petroleum in the world. But in early 2014, we actually surpassed Russia to take over the #2 spot. And by the end of 2014, we overtook Saudi Arabia, become the #1 oil producer in the world and petroleum producer. So that sounds great, but what does that mean in the real world? What does that mean to our clients, to the homeowner? Well, it simply means, and this is something we've all seen, is that energy prices have dropped. We see this in the cost of heating oil. We see it at the pump when we go to fill our cars. And what has allowed this to happen is these new technologies that have allowed us to tap into these domestic resources to increase production and increase supply. In fact, it's allowed us to overcome the speculative markets that we had seen in the previous 6+ years. and allowing us to return to market fundamentals. So now we actually do have that abundant supply with a lower demand, which then of course has brought prices down. And what does that really mean? Well, the short of it is it just simply adds up to savings for the homeowner. And of course, when homeowners are looking and they're making their considerations for homes to buy, they're thinking about cost, they're thinking about the future. And when you can talk about savings, okay, that's what really matters to them. So all that information about supply and all that is great, but really all it comes down to is the use of heating oil and oil heat, homeowners can save, and that's what's important to everybody. So when we do talk about that, we talk about oil heat in the home. Okay, we're going to now, of course, talk about that, as I said. We're going to transition into that. Now, when we talk about oil heat in the home, typically the first thing that people ask us about or talk about are tanks. Okay, and we know that's usually a pretty big topic, especially in home turnovers, as people have a lot of questions about tanks. So what I want to share with you today is that information. So when we talk about today's tanks, okay, they're more state-of-the-art than ever. They're being made with more technically advanced materials, designed with corrosion-resistant materials for longer life and safety. Now, I have on the screen for you, there's three typical tanks, new modern tanks. Now, the one on the far left, that's probably what most people envision when they think about a home heating oil tank, a typical 275-gallon oval tank. Now, the tank you see here is slightly different from the ones that many people have seen. The ones we normally, most people see that are out there are the straight 275 tank that looks like this, but they're bare steel, which of course then should be painted. This particular tank is the 275 single-walled enamel-coated tank. Okay, and so what basically, very simply, is that enamel coating helps protect the tank. It allows it to stand up more to weather and other factors that help it give that durability and longer life and safety. The tank in the middle, this is an above-ground fiberglass tank, 275 fiberglass tank. And of course, fiberglass is corrosion-proof. Okay, it's not going to deteriorate due to weather, condensation, and things of that nature. So again, longer life durability with a fiberglass tank. And third, I have a tank on the right. Okay, this is known as a 2-in-1 safety tank, meaning that it's basically a dual tank system. You have an inner tank, which is made of a seamless polyethylene material, which is corrosion-proof and puncture-resistant, and that is then encased in an outer tank of galvanized steel. So in the unlikely event that the inner tank ever does experience a release, that outer tank is capable of handling 110% of the inner tank's contents. So increased durability, safety, and peace of mind for the homeowner. Now, also what I say is that there's a lot of different manufacturers for these tanks. The 2-in-1 safety tank, the one you see pictured there, is actually manufactured by Roth. It also comes with an excellent guarantee. The company guarantees against the release of up to $2 million worth of coverage. So again, talk about peace of mind for the homeowner. I actually just put one of these in my own home about a year ago, and I sleep a lot better knowing that I have it. So you have lots of different options in tanks. These are just three of them. But again, the key being is that today's tanks are more state-of-the-art. Now, obviously, in a home turnover situation where you're showing a home, chances are the tanks that are existing may be older tanks. And one of the things that we hear all the time about heating oil tanks, especially the above ground tanks, and if they're outdoors, is they're ugly. They're not exactly the most attractive things up against the side of the house. But you know what? Again, as I said earlier, I'm about the good news, because that's a very simple solution to that. We have two products available from the industry that help take care of that. And they're known as tank tubs and tank covers. Okay, these are very simple enclosures that come in a wide variety of designs and colors to help match the look of the home and help improve the aesthetics. In addition, they also add an additional layer of protection. So the image on the right, I'll start there, that is a tank cover. And again, it simply slides over the front of the tank up against the home, helping it blend in. And again, it helps improve the aesthetics. It's now also giving that added layer of protection. So added protection against weather, foreign object being accidentally bumped into by a lawnmower, kids using it to play baseball, as a backstop. Any of those external factors, you now have that added layer of protection. We can actually take that a step further by utilizing the product on the left, which is known as a tank tub. Now, tank tub, very simply, is a full enclosure that the tank sets down into. Okay, so what you're getting all those same benefits that we just had with the tank cover, but now we're adding one more. By using a tank tub, we are in essence creating that double wall safety tank. So you have your standard 275-gallon tank, which is your inner tank, that is totally encased by the tank tub, which becomes your outer tank. And again, in the unlikely event the inner tank ever experiences a release, the tank tub is capable of handling its entire contents. So again, by the use of these simple products, we have increased durability, protection, better aesthetics, and peace of mind for the homeowner. And again, that allows the homeowners to feel much better about the tanks, knowing that they're no longer an eyesore and they have that added level of protection available as well. So when we shift our focus now from the above ground tanks to the underground tanks, again, just like above ground tanks, they're being made with more corrosion resistant materials for longer life and durability. But in addition, even the ways they're being installed have been improved. Okay, many years ago, when a lot of homes were being built and being built with oil, builders typically, when they're putting the tanks in, they simply dug a hole, put the tank in, hooked up the lines, and then backfilled it with whatever material was laying around. So that was dirt, stones, could have been bricks, rebar, cinder block, all types of debris that over time could then shift and actually rub up against the tank and create damage and even possibly a release. Well, we know better today, so we have improved the technologies of doing installs. Okay, so yes, we still have to dig that hole, but we give it a firm foundation. And when we backfill, we use nothing but clean material. So no more debris that can become an issue. Now, there's more to those new technologies of installs, but the key is knowing that today's tanks, underground tanks, are being installed with better materials, better care, and with the technologies to help improve, again, that durability for peace of mind and safety. Now, a couple of things you do want to know when we do talk about underground tanks in general. In the United States, all underground tanks, all underground residential heating oil tanks, regardless of size, are exempt from all federal and most state regulations. Now, here in, or should say there in North Carolina, used to doing this in person, that's why I said here. There in North Carolina, we do know that the regulations are pretty much the same as the U.S. federal regulations, meaning all heating oil tanks are exempt from the regulations if used for consumptive use on the premises where stored. What does that mean? Well, it simply means that as long as the tank, the oil in that tank is being used there at the property to heat the home or heat the hot water, there are no regulations on those tanks. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so all very good and easy. In addition, when we do talk about tanks, okay, also, a couple things to be aware of. Again, when we talk about underground tanks, and especially in home turnovers, they do raise some eyebrows. Some people do have questions. So one of the things that we want to talk about is you want to look for signs of buried tanks. If you know there's one in existence, or if you're not sure, you want to look for signs of a tank or an abandoned tank. If there is an abandoned tank, ideally you do want to have proper documentation of that abandonment. Now, in North Carolina, when it does come to abandoning tanks and tank closures, the state does not require that non-regulated UST or underground storage tanks, which we just talked about, that they be removed from the ground and that are no longer in operation. In addition, they do not require soil samples to be taken. Okay. However, okay, it is advised for homeowners that if they are abandoning the tank, if they are not going to be in use anymore, to empty the tank, and that way it eliminates any chances of release. What I want to talk about today, though, also in addition to that, though, is recommendations. In addition to simply emptying the tank, you do want to make sure that the tank is abandoned properly. And what that means is, yes, first step, of course, is to empty the tank to pump out all oil and fumes from the tank, but then it wants to be filled with an inert material. And there are several different materials that are allowed to use this for. One is a concrete slurry, and there's some others. The reason for doing this, the reason for filling the tank with an inert material is very simple, is that over time, eventually that tank will corrode. And if the tank hasn't been filled with this inert material, it will collapse, and then creating a sinkhole. And of course, nobody wants that to happen. So by very simply filling that tank with this inert material, it will prevent any collapse in the future, and again, giving that peace of mind and taking worry out of the picture. Another very important aspect of a proper tank abandonment is making sure that the fill pipe and the vent pipes are removed below grade. Again, making sure that access is no longer available helps prevent any accidental attempts to filling a tank that's no longer in use. So again, very simple. Again, if you have any questions, you're not sure, have any questions about tanks, underground tanks, or just not sure, again, just go ahead and recommend third-party testing, or simply give us a call, give the association a call, one of our full-service dealers. They'll come out, they'll talk to you about what steps to take. And it's really, what's important is just simply that understanding. Now, when we do talk about tanks, a couple last things that I do want to cover is that most homeowner insurance policies do cover tanks to some degree. Okay, now what's important to understand that is that to some degree aspect of it. So a home buyer is going to want to check with their insurance company to find out what level of protection is available to them. But again, more good news, and that is for any homeowner who wants even greater protection and peace of mind, there are tank insurance programs that are available from the industry. They can simply contact their local oil heat dealers, find out which programs are available, and then decide for themselves which one is right for them. Bottom line when we talk about tanks is that they put the customer in control, giving them that independence and peace of mind, knowing that they are able to store the fuel right there. And if they partner with a full service dealer on an automatic delivery program, it also virtually assures that they're never going to run out of fuel. So again, independence and peace of mind being those big benefits. So let's go ahead and move on and talk about what else about oil heat in the home. So I'm actually not going to spend a lot of time. I'm sure as real estate professionals, you are familiar with different types of heating systems. When we do talk about heating oil systems, these are the most common configurations that you are going to find. Of course, we have furnaces, which heat air and circulates that air throughout the home. Boilers, which does the same thing, but with hot water. Of course, if it is a much older system, it might be heating that water, turning it into steam, and then the steam being circulated throughout the home. And in terms of hot water, you typically have indirect and direct-fired water heaters. The difference between those two are very simple. When we talk about a direct oil-fired water heater, that simply means that the water heater has its own burner, so a separate burner from that of the furnace or the boiler. In terms of an indirect, that's usually in conjunction with a boiler, and it's using the same burner that the boiler does. Okay, again, there's different configurations. Now, of course, these diagrams are very basic, and systems you're going to see in the home may be configured differently. But again, if you have any questions about an oil heat system in the home, again, just give us a call. We'll have a dealer come out and explain the system to you and the home buyer. As I said in the beginning, our goal is really simple. Our goal is to make it easier for you to sell oil heated homes. That's what this program is all about. And as I said, one of the best ways we can help you is through our dealers. So in wrapping up and covering our last segment this morning, we are going to talk about the oil dealer being at your service. And as I said, first we'll talk about being at the service of the homeowner, and then more importantly for today's discussion is how our dealers can help service you as real estate professionals. So in terms of the homeowners, again, one of the things that's important to also understand is that oil dealers do a lot more than simply deliver fuel. They're delivering more than just traditional heating oil or bioheat. They also offer many other products and services such as propane, biodiesel, which we talked about, kerosene, autogas, air conditioning and plumbing services, electricity sales and service, and much more. And one of those also services that many of our dealers also offer that's important to understand are home energy audits. Again, energy audits have become very popular in today's world because everybody wants to look at all the different ways that they can save, not just in terms of the heating systems, but in terms of the whole home. So many of the dealers have already been certified to do this. And what they'll do is they'll conduct this audit, and again, they'll examine the entire home, not just the heating system, but the whole home envelope. So they'll test the heating and cooling system, the appliances, the lighting, the windows, the doors, etc. And when they're all done, they will, of course, then give that homeowner a report. And the report will talk about the efficiency of the home, with the findings, the different ways that they can lower their energy bills, whether it be increasing, adding insulation, replacing doors, windows, upgrading the comfort systems. And they'll talk to them about those options and find out what are the best ways for them to lower their energy bills as a whole. So again, they're there to take care of the entire home, all of that homeowner's comfort, not just deliver fuel. That's their commitment to the home buyer. So again, great for home buyers. Again, convenience, peace of mind, dependability, all those things we talked about earlier is what the oil heat dealer is giving and the value that they're providing for the home buyer and the homeowner. So now let's talk up and let's talk about what it is specifically that we can do for you as real estate professionals. As I said, we're here to help make it easier for you to sell homes. And we can do that many different ways. One, of course, is by providing information and training, as we did today, talking about all the different topics we covered, the benefits of oil heat, recommending providers, heating systems, about different regulations, talking about tanks and answering any questions you have or concerns that you or the home buyer has. Again, bottom line is really simple. It's helping you with the selling points you need to make oil-heated homes the comfortable and safe choice for you and the home buyer. So we do this in a lot of different ways, as we just talked about. But we also have different ways and materials and services available to help guide you along that way. So we have developed materials to help you with this. So we have a couple of different brochures that are available to you. You can simply contact the association and get copies of these, and these will be available to you free of charge. And those are, we have the Real Estate Agent's Guide to Selling Oil-Heated Homes. This is a guide that will cover a lot of the information I just rattled through today, and some additional information as well. So it acts as a reminder for what we talked about. We also have a companion piece that you can then actually give directly to homeowners, which is the Homeowner Guide to Heating Oil. So again, this is information that covers a lot of the information. Of course, it just takes a slightly different angle to help explain the benefits of oil heat to the homeowner, answers a lot of the questions that they're going to have. We also have another piece which is available from NOR, which is the Home Inspector's Companion. So if you know of any home inspectors that are going to check in on an oil-heated home and they have questions and they want to brush up, again, it's a great piece for them to use as a guide as well. And again, in addition to these pieces, these brochures, we have other free services and support and advice from our members. Again, the bottom line being our commitment to help ensure your success. So what are those other services? Well, here's a list of some of them that we're going to go through, and I'll just talk about briefly. You can count on us, again, and really, if there is anything from today's presentation that I want you to take home with you and remember, is that if you ever have any questions, concerns, or need any help in selling and showing an oil-heated home, get us involved. We will be there to help you. We'll help you by providing any number of free services, such as providing an oil heat system startup in a home that you're showing. Now, this time of year, many of the homes you're showing, and the heating system is not going to be running, okay? It's warm out. But if you have a homeowner who's unfamiliar with it, they're going to want to be able to understand the system. They're going to want to see how it starts up. They're going to have questions about it. We will come there and we'll explain the systems with you to your clients. So again, so that they understand the system and understand what it is they need to know. Also, if you have any questions from other professionals, if any of those other professionals that we talked about, home lenders, mortgage brokers, lawyers, etc., insurance companies, if any of them are putting up any blockade or barrier to that sale, get us involved. We'll work with you, speaking with them to help overcome those obstacles. Again, take those barriers away by answering their questions as well. We can conduct an accurate tank measurement. In many cases, the seller wants to recoup the value of the oil heat that's in their tank. And even if that's not the case, many home buyers want to understand how much oil is in there, how long is it going to last, etc. And those are things that we will sit down and speak with the homeowner about. So we can do that tank measurement, talk to the homeowner about projected fuel schedules, examining their overall needs, and speak to them about that. If the home has been vacant, the current homeowner has already moved out, and we're coming into the colder months, and it's running low or has run out of oil, we will come out and make an emergency oil delivery. I do have to say, though, that this is the one service on the list that's not free. The dealer will charge for the oil, but you can be assured that we will come out and we will service that home for you so that you don't have any issues. The last thing you ever want to do is go to show a home and have it cold inside the home. That does not give people that warm, fuzzy feeling. So we'll help protect against that by being there for you. As I said, most importantly, or actually, I didn't want to skip this one. Many of the service agreements and tank agreements that we talked about, they are also transferable, so we'll help facilitate that. And most importantly, as I was about to say, bottom line is that we'll sit down with the homeowner with you. We'll talk to them about projected fuel schedules, talk about their needs, the history of the home, any of the questions they have about the systems. We'll talk about different ways of saving, budget programs, other payment programs. Again, basically just talk to them about the systems and advice on efficiency upgrades and ways to save money on their energy bills. That is our commitment, that we will be there to help offer those services so that you can be more successful. So it all simply comes down to that, is that that's our commitment, is that we will be there to help you become more successful by giving you that knowledge. And as I said earlier, knowledge is power, okay? And power is the gateway to success, meaning that the more you know about oil heat, the better you're able to communicate those benefits to the home buyers and to the other professionals you deal with, the more homes you're going to sell, and those additional sales are going to mean more money for you. That's what this program is all about, is our industry's commitment to yours to be there to help support you in your success. So I want to thank everyone for listening in today. Of course, we will take any questions. If you do, before we actually do get the questions, if you do have any other questions beyond this morning, you need more information, there are 3 excellent websites that you can visit, ncoilheat.org, oilheatamerica.com, and the AmericanEnergyCoalition.org. 3 great resources of information. You can use them for information for yourself. You can also share, of course, these links with your home buyers for them to get information as well. So we're going to go ahead and move on. We will take your questions. When we are done with your questions, again, for additional information or follow-up, we're going to leave this slide up for a while. You can contact the North Carolina Fuel Institute and Timothy Laughlin. Again, we have his address and contact information up there on the screen. So we'll turn it back over to Tyler, and he'll go over questions, and I'll be happy to answer those for you. Again, thank you, everyone.
Great. Thank you, David. Again, you can ask any questions to David while he's on the line right now by going to the question pane on the right control panel. So we do have a few questions, so I'm going to go ahead and start spitting them off to you.
Okay.
So here we go. So in the mid-1990s, oil heat on average over the previous 20-year period was less expensive than natural gas and propane. How does it rank now on average over the last 20 years?
Wow, that's a great question. Yes, oil heat has had an excellent history of actually being more affordable. Now, one of the things I do have to be careful of here with that question, and I do apologize, I should have explained this in the beginning, is that this program is brought to you largely in part by the National Oil Heat Research Alliance, which is our industry's checkoff program. And one of the things, unfortunately, in the regulations of that program is that I'm not allowed to speak about oil heat in a competitive manner. What I can say, though, and believe me, if you want the specific answer to that question, I encourage you to go onto the American Energy Coalition website. There's a lot of great information and details about those comparisons. You can get that information there. What I will say right now is that we have enjoyed an excellent history of affordability. And again, I encourage you to actually go to those resources, or again, very simply call the Carolina Fuel Institute or any of the dealers, and they'll be happy to explain the details, which unfortunately my hands are tied on today to speak about.
Has there ever been a period when natural gas or propane customers were not able to get fuel delivered to their home?
Oh wow, you're hurting me here. Again, unfortunately, again, under the guidelines of the presentation, we're not allowed to speak about other fuels. But again, there's other resources we did speak about. We'll have all that information for you.
Okay. So North Carolina has revoked their financial residential UST assistance. Is there any other source of financial assistance for NC homeowners with USTs?
That's actually a very good question. I would have to double check my information on that. I did know that there was a program in place and that it had expired. There are different programs I know that are available out there. The specifics I'm not sure. What I can do is I can check with Timothy at the North Carolina Fuel Institute, and I can get you that answer that you can then, of course, send out.
David, so John just said it was $500 per home for equipment, $500 for tanks, and to contact NCPCM for more information.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Has Brookhaven Natural Laboratories produced a recent white paper on the benefits and advantages of oil heat?
Okay, another very good question. Brookhaven is an excellent resource of information, and they do put out information on a regular basis. When the last white paper came out, I would actually have to check on that. Obviously, if there is one, a new one available, we can make that available to you. That's not a problem.
Great. And John just chimed in and said on the NORA website and ncoilheat.com. I guess that's where you
Excellent.
can go
Okay.
find that information. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I said is, a lot of this information is available on those resources. And again, I encourage everybody to go and look at those.
So I have a question. So I guess from the consumer's perspective, what's the best way that our members as realtors can ensure their clients that an oil heat home is safe and efficient?
Excellent. There's again, one of which, of course, is utilizing the materials that we talked about. And again, anyone can request those brochures that we spoke about, refer them to all the information that's available through the resources. But basically, again, is talk to them about, one, about what they learned today, about the demonstration they saw, about the commitment that oil dealers have to the homeowners, to safety. One of the things that, as an industry that, as I mentioned a couple of times throughout the presentation, is our commitment to constantly looking to improve our products and services. Of course, safety is always one of the biggest issues that people have questions about because they have a lot of misconceptions. Really just explaining to them about the benefits and the safety factors, the fact that heating oil, unlike other petroleum products that most people think about, like gasoline, et cetera, is not explosive. It is extremely safe. It is very stable. It has that high flash point. Talking about the different products, the different level, the newer tanks, their dependability, their improved manufacturing techniques, materials, all geared towards keeping oil heat safe and dependable in the home. And of course, if the bottom line really is if any homeowner still has any questions about safety, dependability, or any other of the aspects we spoke about, get us involved. Okay, give the institute a call, or call to one of the local oil heat dealers directly. They'll be happy to come out and speak with that homeowner, talk to them about all their concerns, answer any of the questions that they have, and show them the safety and the benefits that oil heat has to provide.
Perfect. Well, I don't see any more questions, David, so I'm going to go ahead and switch it back to me. But if you guys do have any more questions, there are other resources here on these slides. These slides will be available to you guys. What we're going to do in the next few days, we're going to send out an email containing a link to this recorded webinar. So we are recording today, and we're going to include a copy of these slides as well as a registration link to next month's webinar. So next month, you can join us on August 10th as AdWorks will discuss online branding. And you can register for that by finding the event on our website calendar on www.ncrealtors.org, or you can use the link in the follow-up email being sent to you later this week. So that's all we have today. Thank everyone for joining us. Thank you, David, for the presentation. And we'll see you
Thank you,
guys
Tyler.
next
Thank
time.
you, everyone, for joining us.
All right. Thanks, David. See you guys.